Hello lovely students, how's everybody doing? I hope you guys are doing alright. So in today's video, I want to talk a little bit about stability and mobility in our joints. So that at the end of this video, you know which parts of your body need stabilizing and out of which areas we can actually get our mobility out. Now, the first thing is that our joints are divided with different functions. That doesn't mean that certain joints only have one function, but their main function will be either to stabilize or to mobilize. Then we have it in our hands. For example, our fingers are responsible for mobility. Then we have the arch of our hand that is responsible for stability. Our wrist, mobility. Our elbow, stability. Same goes for our feet. In our feet, our toes are responsible for mobility. That's why we want to stretch those toes out as much as possible. Then we have the arch of our foot. The arch of our foot is stability. That's why it's so important to lift the arch in yoga. Our ankle, again, mobility. Our knee, stability. So you see that there is an alternative pattern going on that we alternate between stability and mobility. Now the thing that happens a lot is that in our mobility parts, we have a lot of range of motion. So what happens a lot of times is that we rely on our mobility structures in order to get that maximum range of motion, and we don't activate our stability areas. Now what happens there is that, again, we rely on our ligaments and on our tendons to get us in that range of motion because we're not activating our muscles. Now, what we want to make sure of in our yoga practice, and I think in any practice, is that we activate those stabilizing parts of our body. Now, what does that mean for you and for your yoga practice? You know that there are certain ones that are focused mainly on mobility and other ones focused on stability. Remember in classes that I always tell you guys to have spider fingers when we're doing anything with weight on our hands. Why? Why do I tell you guys that? Because in that way we are activating the arch of our hand. We are pressing the fingers down, we are lifting the arch, stabilizing it as much as possible, using all the muscles in our hand, and we're helping to stabilize the wrist. No, our wrist is very mobile and therefore we should protect it a little bit. We should help it with our active structures, with our muscles, so that we don't solely rely on its maximum range of motion where we don't have any strength. Remember that when we end our range of motion, we're mostly hanging in the joint. So same thing happens in our downward facing dog, for example. We tend to collapse our ankle in order to get that extra range of motion, because we see pictures of many people doing downward facing dog or mountain pose, and they always have the heels on the floor. So immediately we kind of think that heels on the floor is how it must be. Now, yes, it's very good and it's very good to stretch that area, but stretch it actively. A lot of the times people, in order to get this angle between the front of the leg and the ankle and the foot, they tend to collapse the arch of the foot. Now, that has a reason. The moment I collapse the arch of my foot, my range of motion will be much bigger, because I will be coming all the way till the end, till my ligaments and my tendons are actually holding that pose. Now, we don't want that. We want always to be able to lift the arch of our foot up. If you can see, you will see how my ankle instantly straightens up. Let's try this again. So, arch of the foot active, arch of the foot collapsing. Arch of the foot active, arch of the foot collapsing. Now I want you to see what this does in your downward facing dog. It will probably bring your flexibility way back, like way back. If in your normal downward facing dog you were able to put the heels on the floor, maybe now by lifting the arch of the foot you won't be able. But you will be protecting the ankle instead of collapsing and dumping all the way there on its passive structures. So it's very important for us to activate those stabilizing areas. It means activating the arch of our foot, activating our knee, and that will mostly solve a lot of problems that we have there. A lot of times when we have knee problems or knee pain, it is not really about the knee, but it's about its foundation that is not working properly, or about the top that is also not doing its job. So most problems that people will encounter in the knee will be or a hip problem or a foot problem. So So I want you to understand what you are doing with your own practice, because it's all good and well for me to tell you have to do this, you have to do that, but I want you to understand what is happening in your body. So remember that an activated body is a strong body. A strong body is very difficult to get an injury. So apply this to more poses, apply this to tree pose, apply this to your daily walking, actually seeing if you are using the arch of our foot, if you're stabilizing your ankle. Same thing when we're doing arm balances. Are we actually using the arch of our hand in order to stabilize? Now again, an area where a lot of the people like to slacken stabilization, I would say, is the upper ribs. Many people will flare out the ribs as much as they can and like really push those ribs, creating such a deep back bend. But that means that we are not engaging our abdominal area. For that, we need to activate our core. Don't let our ribs collapse. Use your core. Same for our feet. You can see my ankles here are a bit lifted because I'm activating my arch of the foot. So my ankles are a bit lifted because I'm activating the arch of my foot. If I collapse, I can easily bring the foot down. That's not a problem. But if I activate, trying to spread my toes without lifting them, it will feel much different. And that's what I want you as well to explore, to feel in your practice. What is happening in your body? What are you doing awarely and unawarely, so that you can discover yourself a bit more and you can understand your practice and your body a bit more. Now in our hands as well, spider fingers. Why? Especially when we're doing crow pose. This is very important to activate our fingers. Press the ball of our hand down, lift the arch. We are activating our whole hand and we're protecting the wrist at the same time. So that means that we can easily go into an arm balance without having to worry about our wrists. If we would do this straight, my range of motion is probably going to be much bigger. Look how far I can come. But if I want to activate, I will need to go back. This is my max. This is where I'm hanging my ligaments. This is where I'm hanging my tendons, where my muscles don't really have the strength to keep me in that position. And there are many exercises that you can do at home, and that if you want, we can talk about on how to see what is your active range of motion and your passive range of motion, because it's very important. We can also see it in Trikonasana, for example. If we're doing triangle pose, we're grabbing our toe and we're really pulling ourselves down. But can we keep that pose if we let go of that toe? Can we keep certain poses if we don't have that extra hand helping us there to pull us into a certain situation? Because when we do that, we're mostly passing already our strength range, and we want to create a good balance between strength and flexibility. If you guys have any other questions, or if you want to deconstruct a pose that you think, I still don't understand this, I would like some more information, please let me know. Let me know if there's certain things that you would like to work on, and we can make a video about that. Now, much love for you all, and I hope you guys have a great quarantine.